A nervous voice. The silence pressing down on my ears was almost ominous. I lay there on the top bunk, staring at a spot in the ceiling, and slowly the ambient sounds of the prison began to reinsert themselves. The coughing, the snoring, the distant clangs, the echo of faraway voices. Suddenly, I felt the bunk shift slightly, and I sensed someone standing up from the bottom bunk. I figured Hector was getting up to use the toilet, so I kept on lying there, eyes half closed, and I could just make out Hector's shadow to the left of me. He was just standing there, not moving. That seemed a bit strange, so I opened my eyes and turned my head to ask him what was wrong. I swear to Christ, I still have nightmares about what I saw standing there. It wasn't Hector. It was the woman from Hector's fucking tattoo. Only she wasn't a tattoo anymore. She was standing about a foot from me. She was staring down at me with those bulging, bloodshot eyes, and she had this grin that split her face in half. Oh Christ, that fucking grin. I can't wipe the memory of it. It doesn't matter how many bottles of wild Irish rose I drink. It doesn't matter how many shots of tequila I knock back. I can't stop seeing that grin. It was the most horrific thing you could imagine. She had black lips and long yellow teeth. Her mouth was stretched so wide apart that there was no way her jaw hadn't dislocated. I couldn't move. I just wanted to leap off that bunk. I just wanted to scream in fucking horror, but I couldn't move. It was a wide-awake nightmare. A demon's face, no more than pale corpse skin and long black hair plastered her skull on a grin, neon bright and 5 miles wide, and my mind was caving in on itself. I was going insane staring at that thing. And then, to my enormous relief, she turned away from me and slipped out through the bars of our cell. A moment later, I saw it bolt upright in my bunk and dragged in a wheezing breath. Jesus, the fuck? I jumped out of my bed, and instantly I saw Hector lying face down on his bunk. His eyes were rolled all the way up in his skull. I could only see the whites. His prison shirt had been dragged all the way up, exposing his bare back. I crouched down beside him. A tattoo on his back was missing. The breath left me in a low, involuntary whistle. His back was bare. It was like that fucking thing had climbed right up off his skin. I kept telling myself that was knee-deep crazy, but in my gut, I knew exactly what had happened. I crouched, quivering in the corner of my cell, and waited until that monster came back. I knew sooner or later she would return, and I was petrified. I hadn't felt this scared since I was a little boy. That grin, those eyes, Jesus Christ, and I was literally pissing myself in terror. I kept whispering to myself, please don't notice me, please don't notice me, don't notice me, please, Jesus. Don't look in my direction. All the while, Hector lay on his belly, his eyes rolled up to whites. Every now and again, he'd undergo this violent series of convulsions, or else he'd start whispering in Spanish, but for the most part, he'd lie there, still as a corpse. I kept my attention fixed on the bars of the cell, the small square of passage visible beyond. My heart was pounding against the walls of my chest, my lips were moving silently, and I realized I was praying. I hadn't prayed in 15 years. After about 10 minutes or so, I felt the air grow chill and tense. The hair started crawling on my scalp. She was coming back. I knew she was coming back. I made this involuntary movement sound and tried to push myself back into the shadows, but the walls of the cell pressed up against my back. I'd reached my limit. I was trapped in my own nightmare. The lights in the passage started flickering violently like Morse code, and then suddenly, without warning, she was there, peering at me through the bars of the cell. I could see that grin like a ghastly wound split in her face, eyes burning into my soul. Voice whispering in my brain telling me, it's a joke, it's all a joke, everything is a fucking joke, over and over, and after a while, I realized I was grinning, wide as a lunatic and weeping blood. I can't stop the tears from flowing because everything's a joke. God help me, my whole life has been a fucking joke. The monster slips back through the bars of the cell and glides across to the bunk. She pauses for a second, staring down at Hector. I'm slamming the heel of my hands against my head, trying to get rid of the voices. I'm hooking my fingers into my mouth, digging into my jawbones, trying to erase that grin. Can't stop fucking grinning, can't stop weeping blood. God, Jesus, I'm bleeding from my eyes, hemorrhaging regrets, tears Sorry. Hello? Anyone out there? Anyone hearing this? Everything's real. Nothing. Didn't you see? The joke. I'm dreaming. Me dreaming. You dreaming. Me. Then the monster lies down on top of Hector, and there's a moment of intense visual distortion like a movie with several frames missing, and then she's gone. I continue to sit there, staring at Hector, and slowly, but surely, I feel the pressure easing in my jaws, the grin slowly relaxing, fading, and then dragging in huge gulps of air as I scramble to my feet. I peer down at Hector. The tattoo has appeared on his back again. Demon glares up at me from his flesh, grinning white as the moon, and quickly I reach out and drag Hector's shirt back down across it, covering it, erasing it. It's all a joke. Everything. Rumors are like contagion in a prison. Neither walls nor bars can stop them. I can't sleep the rest of the night. No one can. 5 minutes after the demon returned, Diego Gomez started laughing. He was 6 cents up from me, and at first, he started chuckling real low, like the way someone laughed when they'd remembered something funny. That kind of chuckle. Then, after a while, he was laughing out loud, and convicts calling out and advising him he'd better shut the fuck up, and other convicts laughed as well, like they kinda got the joke, but no, not one got the joke like Diego got the joke. By this time, he was literally shrieking with laughter. I've never heard anything so unnerving. He wasn't laughing the way a sane person laughs. You could actually hear the desperation in his voice, like laughing was the only way he could scream. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know what the hell makes sense anymore. Everyone was awake. You could see them standing in their cells, peering silently out through the bars, and no one was yelling out for Diego to quit laughing anymore. You only had to hear Diego's laugh to know something wasn't right. After a while, the lights went on. Guards came in to see what was wrong. They passed my cell on the way to Diego's. I was standing close to the bars. Hector was standing with me by this time. We watched the guards rush past, yelling and cursing. And then when they got to Diego's cell, they stopped yelling and they stopped cursing. I heard one of them say, "Holy fuck!" That's when everything went nuts. The guards rushing about like lunatics, calling for paramedics, calling for restraints, and everyone was screaming at once, and all Diego never once stopped laughing. I turned to Hector. Hector was nodding as he listened to Diego laugh. He was nodding like he got the joke. "You know, I think God an angel," he said softly. Diego Gomez, a.k.a. The Machine, strangled his cellmate, a guy named Chad Bacon, to death with his bare hands. Rumor told me Diego Gomez exerted so much pressure that Chad's eyes hemorrhaged and his skin literally turned black. He was laughing whilst he strangled Chad. After killing his cellmate, Diego reached up and tore his own eyes out of his skull. He kept on laughing all the time. No one knows why I did it, but some inmates in close-by cells swear to Christ they saw a woman in Diego's cell shortly before things went crazy. She was whispering in his ear. She must have been telling him something pretty funny because Diego was grinning ear to ear.